my name, for those of you who don't know, I am Jessica Lucky, and I am the Director of Client Success at Altos Research. And I'm excited to host these lunch and learns to be able to share some strategies so that you can get the most out of your account. All right. And again, so if you have any questions, please be sure to drop them in the chat field and we'll get to those questions. We've got Jeff on the line who can help with those. And hopefully we have a few minutes at the end where I can take some of those questions as well. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So what you should be able to see is I am now logged into my account. And so we all know, right? So Altos, we provide market data, right? We want to be able to answer the question, how's the market today? And so buyers and sellers all want to know how's the market, right? And that's what makes this information so valuable. Um, it's high value content, right? And it's a must have for you guys to help build your business. And what we're going to talk about today, something that we talked about last month as well, is how can we use Altos to gain leads, right? And so marketing. So if you attended last month, great. We talked about different strategies for obtaining those leads, different ways that you can use this market data out and about in your business. So I do want to steer us to our YouTube channel. Okay, so it's youtube.com/Altos Research. This is such a great resource for you to learn more about how to maximize your account. We've got a lot of data in here. We've got lots of webinars that we've done. I want to steer you to my particular section, which is our customer webinars here. And so if you missed last month, that's why I want to draw your attention, is how to use market data to attract clients, because we're going to talk a little bit about it today, but today's really going to be focused on how do we manage and measure the results of our efforts, right? You spend time trying to do these marketing efforts, it's really important to kind of gauge what's working, right? And where should you spend more time? And so again, youtube.com/Altos Research to go ahead and access previous lunch and learns, previous webinars, interviews. There's a ton of information. And I'm sharing this because I work with clients every day and they're not aware of that YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that this is helpful for you. Okay. All right. And so today, again, we're going to talk about different ways to use market data for lead generation, i.e. marketing, but how we can measure the success of our marketing efforts. And one of the things I'm so excited about is that this is going to be a first view for you. We have launched or we've reconfigured a feature, right? So our lead form, many of you either utilize it or you may not even know that it exists. And it's such a great component of your Altos account, right? You want to be able to measure the efforts that you make. And you can do that by using our lead form. I've also called it our report request form. Now, typically, this is your view when you land into your Altos account. And so one of the features you've got is this embed functionality. The embed functionality, when you click on it, this is where you can obtain your lead form, but it's kind of hidden, right? And what do we use the lead form for? They are associated with your campaigns. And so if you recall last month when we were talking about that marketing effort, you can incorporate the data into your website. You can incorporate the data into your social media channels. You can do direct mail. You can do open houses. All of those are possibilities, right? And so if we go and we take a look at a website, this is such a great example of incorporating the market data. If we scroll down, you'll see that you can get the individual HTML for these particular objects, these images within, okay? And on click loads the latest version of their report. So this is great. Why? Because when you have your website, one of the key, you want to be able to answer the top questions, right? What's available to me within my price range? How's the market? And what's my home worth? We've got how's the market. In fact, a lot of folks have what's available to me on their on their phones, right? Their applications. And so you want to be able to say, hey, okay, I need valuable content for my website. Having an Altos account allows you to do that. You've got access to market data that is easy to understand and it quickly answers the question, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market and how much so? And so you can obtain the HTML to build pages just like this. And in addition, you'll see that you have the ability to also subscribe. And so this is something that I want to focus on. If we click on subscribe now, you'll see, and it's reconfigured, you'll see that we've got our report request form, okay? i.e. lead form. So looking at the market reports, right? So you see this website and they can go through and they can look at the reports, but they've integrated a subscribe now. Okay, so that is really important. But if they click on subscribe, how do you know they came from your website? That is valuable information. Did you know that you can put a link within your signature for every email that goes out that says, never miss important changes in the market? Get your free market report today. On click, loads a form just like this. But how do you know if the effort you've made with your signature is what's valuable, is what's being utilized? And so campaigns is really, really important to be able to manage, measure those results of your marketing efforts. And so if we click on campaigns, those of you who are playing with your account on a regular basis may realize that, oh my goodness, things have changed. And it's really exciting. Okay. So one of the things that we've been working on at Altos is to make everything a little bit easier. We want you to find the things that are necessary, obviously, so that you can utilize them more effectively. We want you to use the campaigns and have the guesswork taken out. And so one of the things that we focus on with these campaigns is that they are editable, right? But how? Previously, you would click on the title, but what you'll find is that now you've got edit campaign. Great. What you'll see here is a list of a variety of campaigns. Now, I keep talking about this lead form. So what we've integrated into our campaigns page is our lead form. Now you can build directly from within the campaign page. This will save you some time, but it also provides a lot of variation. So it's not as, you have some options. All right, so let's go ahead and go through this. So some of the things that we talked about first, website, right? So what if you wanted to measure the efforts that you spend on creating the content for your website? What leads are being generated from your website? So what we do is we create a website campaign. Great. So if we take our cursor all the way over and preview that, great. You have this nice email, right? Knowledge is power. Check out the latest update. Great. Now, anytime somebody fills out the form, you're going to want them to be added to the website campaign. So what you can do is click on the lead form associated to that campaign. And now you are in that lead form build. Okay. So we've already chosen our campaign, so you don't have to worry about that. And now you can have all reports. For those of you using the lead form previously, this is what we saw. Now use the drop down and you have all of your locations here. The great thing is we've added a search. So you don't have to scroll forever to find, right? So you can go ahead and they will be able to select whatever locations they want. So this is important because you can also choose to create a form that only is specific to certain locations, right? So that's great. Another feature we've added is the ability to deselect custom branding, right? What that means is it removes the header. So if you're going to incorporate it into your website and you've already got your branding all around your web page, you may want to opt out having that also integrated into that form. Okay. So if you choose to do so, you can deselect that. And then here you can copy your link. And now we've added another feature, which is a QR code for the form. And I'll share with you some ideas as to why that's important and such a great feature. Okay. So if we go ahead and copy the link, you can do that. But we also have our embed code. If we click that arrow, it expands it. So now the standard size is medium, but if you want it smaller, you can. You can change the size. And as you change the size, you'll see that the embed code just changes a little bit with those numbers. You can either copy it here or click the copy embed code to embed it into a web page. Because here, if we go back to this example, this is a button on click opens up a new tab. That's perfectly fine. But if you want this form to be embedded into the page, you have that option as well. Okay. And so that is a great feature to be able to have. And you have a little bit more variety here, some different options that you can choose from. Okay. But great. Copy the link. So whether you embed it into your page, and then of course, anytime somebody fills out the form, that contact information is sent to your contact database and they're automatically subscribed to that website campaign. So you know that that lead came from your website. Super important, right? And again, whether you copy the link and have the same outcome, just like this, or you embed it, that's totally up to you on how you want that to work. Okay. And so that's an example. Same idea with your signature, right? So you'll see here, I have a signature campaign. You can create a lead form for that. What a lot of people don't realize is that you can create multiple links so that each one of these has its own link so that you can differentiate again where these folks are coming from. Okay. And so your signature campaign, I have purchase leads, which is a little bit different. But again, the campaigns are how you manage those leads. But the lead form is what makes that possible as far as where they're coming from. Okay. So let's say we want to focus on social media. How can you do that with social media? Right. So if we go back to reports, you have the share functionality, of course, here where you can go ahead and share to Facebook. You can go through your report and you can go share to Facebook, right? What that means is that you're going to share the entire report. What if you just wanted to give a little bit of information and then provide a statement that says, hey, get your own localized market report in your inbox every week? How do you do something like that? Because you're not you have the ability to go outside of just sharing the entire report. You have some options. And so I know we talked about it last month, but let's go back here and let's change our view. For those of you who are revisiting the platform, you may not realize that if you put your cursor here, you can click on the three lines and change your view to market view. Changing to market view, you have a whole new view here where you can see, okay, great. I have a little snapshot of what's important to me for each of the areas that are important, right? Via favorites. And so I can change the statistics too by clicking on settings, clicking on market view stats. And I can say, you know what? I don't like average days on market. We're going to switch to median. Everything else is fantastic. Click save, right? In fact, well, if I know how it is now, what if I wanted to compare it to last week? Great, go to settings, show weekly change. Great, this is my view, but what if I wanted to share something like this with my audience? What if I wanted to share it on social media? Good news, right? You choose your location and you say, okay, show me the snapshot. We have a larger version. It's not the entire report, but hey, I've got a little snapshot that I can share on social media and have them then sign up for their own. So, whether it is Facebook that you do this with, Instagram, right? LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. What you want to do is you want to drive traffic to your lead form. You can still do it by sharing the report to Facebook. Just drop the link into your post, right? Download the image if you'd like to use the snapshot. What's great about this is it's a snapshot of what's happening now, but it shows you what has changed since last week. Great. Now, there's another option. You can actually go and get what we call the summary share. So if we click on the three dots here, click on embed, this first drop down allows you to generate images that you can share. So if you want to configure a chart, amazing. If you want to use the market profile, you can do that. Same idea. So I keep mentioning Instagram because Instagram is actually different than Facebook in the sense that you can't share directly the report because it doesn't like links within a post. But what you can do is share an image and then direct them to your profile. Okay. And so here we can say summary share. This is a really great one because it incorporates your branding. It gives a snapshot. And now we can also include a narrative. The narrative will pop down here. And so what this does is it reaches everyone and how they absorb the information, whether they're into the numbers, where they're visual, or if they just want to read a little bit about what's happening in the market. Download the image file and then share it on Instagram. Okay, so here's my Instagram post. It's ginormous. But here it says, hey, as we head into fall, we are seeing a bit of a cooling in the Morgan Hill market. How's your local market? Click the link in my profile to gain access to your local area. Well, here it is. Click on that and voila, here's mine. This is directly linked to my Instagram campaign. And so now I know that the efforts I make towards with Instagram, when I get a contact that's assigned to the Instagram campaign, I know where it came from, right? Pretty simple. And this stays the same, right? But you can see that this is amazing, right? You can share some information. This is the summary share. And again, that is found under embed within that first drop down, summary share, okay? This is a great asset, just like the snapshot itself is a great asset, both of which can be shared wherever you choose, right? And so that can be valuable. And then again, you're making the effort, use that lead form associated to that campaign so that you can see where they're coming from, okay? And so if we come back to contacts here, I just have a couple, I'm not very popular, but you can see that each one has a different campaign. And assuming that you have many more than I do, you would sort. Hey, I'm going to do an investigation here. I want to see, okay, how many leads did I get from my open house? Okay. Now you know how to follow up. These are the leads that you have obtained from an open house. Well, how would you do that? What is a good strategy for your open house? Well, if you've taken any training of mine, you know how passionate I am about bringing along this particular report, right? And so if I have an open house at my address, right, I have to use the 95032. Great. This is that report. This is the online version. Well, you can convert any online version to a single page PDF, which I've done here. Okay. Now I can print multiple copies of this. What's the number one question that people ask? How's the market? Well, great. I've got this tool. I've got this great report that I can now use as a conversation starter. In fact, if I really, really wanted to make an impact, I could say, hey, this here is a summary of how's the market for 95032. But I'm sitting and I'm manning an open house for a house that is, let's say, 2,600. I'm 2,600, 2,600,000. So let's say that is the price point for the open house. I'm going to print multiple copies. I'm going to take a highlighter and I'm going to highlight that particular segment. Why? Because, oh my goodness, from list to pending in 17 days. That's something that's important to be mentioned. Why? Because when you think about in general, median days on market for total active inventory is 35. When you're dealing with buyers, they need to know the latest information, and that is what the market segments table allows for. That allows you to set an expectation so that they need to know that they need to move quick, that the demand is great in that particular segment. That is valuable. You may not find your next buyer, but you could potentially gain seller leads by having the most up-to-date information, by being the rock star that we know that you are, by including this, right? Now, you know, or you may know that there is a QR code for every report that you have access to. Now, doing so will take them to this report, and they can, in fact, choose subscribe. But what if you wanted to manage the leads that you obtain from the open house? I would encourage you now to utilize the QR code that you can obtain via the campaign. Okay. And so create a campaign for your open house, put the date, put the address, right? And now create a lead form for that. When you create a lead form, you're going to download that QR code. This QR code is what you display at your open house. Okay. It's amazing. They scan the QR code, they can figure out, hey, now you could make it so that all they can have or choose from, because I have quite a few different locations, you want to be specific. So I know that it's 95032. So you can make it so that the form only allows them to subscribe to that. You can add more if you want. But the cool thing is, it's not just one or all, it is what you configure it to be. And then you choose your QR code, okay? And then you copy the link. And so when you do that, they'll only have that to choose from, and then they'll land in your contact database, and it's great, okay? It's a really great way to manage the leads that come from your open house. So I definitely encourage you to do that, okay? And so don't forget, open house this weekend, test it out, right? Take the appropriate report down to that zip code. And even better, remember, identify what segment that home falls within. Highlight it. How does that behave versus other segments, right? Is it faster? Is it cooler? Is it hotter? Is it cooler? Whatever it might be, you are able to talk about the nature of the market for that home instead of just how's the market for that zip code, or how's the market for that city, or how's the market for that county. Okay. So I encourage you to use that there. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful. So again, market data on your website, social media, open houses, direct mail. There you go. Use the QR code for the form. You can also put the QR code for the report as well. And since I'm here, we should talk about that really quick. Again, if we go here, list view, share, QR code. Okay. And so you can get a QR code for the form, for the report, but it's a little different if you want to find out. So if you're doing direct mail, you're doing farming, title your campaign farming, whatever area, create a lead form, create a QR code that you put with that direct mail piece. Okay. So that is another really great option. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the reports themselves because they are the number one thing. Remember that your report has a subscribe button here. Did you know, and you do if you watched last or you attended last month, that you can obtain leads with this search functionality? Yes, via subscribe, but this search functionality is amazing. You can search anywhere we capture data, but you don't want to give away the farm for free. So if you're going to provide the search, you might as well get their information too. And so that is configuring your customization. So to change your lead level form, you can come to customize report, scroll down, choose advanced, and it'll default on subscribe only. That means you'll only get their information if they choose to subscribe, but you can do it on search. So when they go and they use the search and hit search, they'll be prompted with this. They'll enter this information and it gets sent to your contact database, right? And they'll automatically be assigned the new client default campaign. And that's important to note, okay? But you do that again under advanced, click on search, okay? Now, go back to campaigns. Knowing there is a star beside it, anytime somebody clicks on subscribe, within the report, whether the subscribe button or the search functionality, they're automatically going to be added to this campaign. So you could potentially rename this if you'd like. You can call it the subscribe button, right? Campaign. Just so that you know that the new leads that are added to the new client default campaign or subscribe button, that's from the report itself. Okay. And that again is another helpful thing. So again, don't rely on just them clicking subscribe. Use it on search so that you can obtain leads that way and you're not giving away the farm. Okay. All right. So again, your market update reports are huge, of course, but all of your marketing efforts are important. And it's really important that you make sure that you measure it. Spend time on the things that provide, right? Without knowing, you can't. And so be sure to really take advantage of this. Take advantage of the different lead forms. And for those of you who might be in a company account or a small office account who have users, you can build campaigns for each user and then build a lead form for each of those campaigns. Because to be honest, this is a great tool just to add contacts. Okay. And so you can bookmark it and add contacts in this way. Okay. So consider that too. So as you can see, there are plenty of marketing opportunities to generate new leads using market data, right? We've talked about them quite a few times. It's really important for buyers and sellers to be able to gauge the market as they go through the decision process, right? Whether they're a buyer or a seller, you have the answers at your fingertips. You'll build greater trust and credibility with prospects and close more business. Knowing where they came from, that builds your conversations as well. And I know much of what we discussed today is using features available within the professional and premium plans. So if you'd like to explore what it's like to have an Alto subscription, whether you're in a starter or you're in the light version, please put demo in the chat. Okay. And we'll follow up with you. So again, if you're in a light or if you're in a starter and you're interested in exploring the different possibilities, we'd love to have a conversation with you. Just drop demo into the chat functionality and we'll definitely follow up. But thank you so much for setting aside the time today. I hope that you find this valuable. I hope you're super excited. Log into your account, check out that campaigns page. Remember, you can edit those campaigns. You can create multiple campaigns. There is no limit to those campaigns, right? Those lead forms. All right. So again, I hope that this was worthwhile. I hope that you feel that the time was well spent, and I hope to see you next month.